All right, so pretty much the same thing is going to happen for most of these questions, right? Number 8, same idea. We find that maximum height. I'm going to speed through it a little bit faster this time. Negative 64 divided by this negative 16 times 2. So that's again going to give me that. It's going to end up actually being 2 seconds this time. So our firework is going to explode in the sky after 2 seconds. And then to figure out how high it was, we plug it in. So negative 16 plugs into the original equation, and the 2's are what I'm plugging into those parentheses. And when I do that, I end up actually with negative 64 here, negative 64 plus 128. So that actually adds up to 64 feet. So that's our maximum height of the firework. So fireworks, you definitely want to make sure they explode at their maximum height. If they explode too early or they explode too late, you're risking hurting somebody for sure. Number 9 is a bit more, there's a few more steps to it, but it's just asking kind of all 3 questions now at the same time, all right, about a ball flying through the air. The one thing I'll point out, I'm not going to do this question, but the one thing I'll point out to you about it is the fact that it's in the opposite order. So be careful on this question. You want to make sure that you flip it and you write it as negative 16t squared plus 32t. Okay, so be careful on a question like that. We'll sometimes change the order on you, and you might make a mistake if you don't realize that. All right, number 10. I promised you I was going to get you one that isn't projectile motion. This is about a company and returning its profit, figuring out how to make a profit. All right, so let's take a look. We have this model, right? We have this company, and this function right here is going to model their profit. And so we want to figure out the company's profit for thousands of dollars since 1990. That's going to be important. And we're going to say, when will they reach their maximum profit? When will they make the maximum amount of money? So it's the same process that we're going to follow. We're going to take the opposite of negatives of 70, so that's negative 70, divided by 2 times the negative 5, right? That's opposite of b over 2a. And so that simplifies down to 7. Now you got to be careful because, well, what does that 7 actually mean? It means 7 years, right? 7 years. But the question was, in what year? So if it's 7 years since 1990, that means that the profit is going to maximize in 1997, right? So you're just adding that 7 onto the 1990. That's our max, what year it's going to happen. Then the question says, well, what is that maximum profit? Again, just like we did before, we're just going to plug in. So negative 5, plug something squared, plus 70 times something, plus 600. And we're going to just plug that 7 into each of those parentheses. Now the math there is a little bit more challenging, right? 7 squared is 49. And then when you do 49 times negative 5, you get 245. And then once you have gotten okay, sorry about that. So now that we want to add everything together here, that's plus 490 and then plus the 600, right? All of that adds together to, let's see, I can't even see it here on my own writing, 800, and if I add that together, that's 10,000 minus that. So 8, and remember this, oh, I see what's going on here. This is in thousands. But anyway, you get 10,090 minus that is going to give me 845, but it's in thousands. Remember up here it said it was in thousands. So that's actually $845,000. Okay? Last but not least, you say, well, how much money will the company have, or how much profit will it make in the year 2002? And the only difference here is we're still going to plug in like we plugged in the 7, but 2002 is we got to figure out what number to plug in, because you do not want to plug in 2002. You want to figure out how many years it's been since 1990. So 1990 to 2000 is 10 years. So 2002 means that my t value, my time, is 12, right? It's going to be 12 years. And the same thing happens. You go ahead and you plug in the 12, and I believe it's going to be closer to about 800,000. You're going to get an 800, so $800,000. So your profit is actually going to be less further on. This is a lot of companies, this happens to them. They're very, very profitable for a while, but then they actually start losing money and their profits are dropping quite quickly. So this brings us to the end. We've talked about how when something hits the ground, we're setting it equal to 0 and we're solving. And then when we're asking when something is maximum, when does it get to its maximum height, or when do we make our maximum profit, we find the axis of symmetry first, and the opposite of b divided by 2a, and then we divide by 2a, and we take that number. In this case, it was 7, right? 7. We plug it back in to find out that maximum. All right, good luck on the practice problems.